Hey there, welcome to day 1351 of What Shift to Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting the journey as I transition from brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. The good, the bad, the ugly, what works, what doesn't work, as I transition and go a little bit of back and forth. Today, our idiom for supersize your business was around the clock, 24/7, doing something around the clock. And what impact does that have in our business as we're growing and supersizing and building it? And do we really need to sacrifice or work around the clock in order to grow and create the business that we want? And if you would have asked me this 15 years ago, I would have said, absolutely positively, you have to I wouldn't have said you had to sacrifice, because I've never believed in the word sacrifice, but I would say that you have to work really, really hard in order to create what you want. And over the last 10 years especially, I've learned that we can work really, really hard and still not create the things that we want. And the things that we want might not necessarily work out unless we're working in the way that is best for us, best for what it is that we're trying to create in the world, and not just smart, but in a way that is adding massive value to the world, not just busy effort, if that makes sense. So around the clock, I actually like this expression, but kind of like sacrifice, I am letting go of it in terms of how much effort do we need to put forth in order to create what we want. And we see this all the time. We see some people create incredible results and it doesn't look like they're putting forth hardly anywhere near as much effort as we are. And it's because they're not. They're working smarter. They've got a system, they've got processes, they've got procedures, they've got teams of people that are doing their pieces of the puzzle in order to create this giant machine. Just like when we create a machine, we create it one piece of the puzzle at a time, right? And we want to do the same thing with our businesses to supersize and grow them. We want to add the pieces and the components that are necessary, the human resources, the systems, processes, procedures, the other resources that are required in order to build a well-oiled machine that can run whether we're there or not. So I'd love to know your experience with this around the clock. I've done a few things around the clock, and I don't be very effective after about the 16th to the 18th hour. I'm tired, I wear out, I lose my energy, and I need something to recharge my batteries. So do we need to be 100% responsible for our business around the clock, whether we're there or not? Do we need to set the direction and the vision and the expectations and the goals and the values and the morals by which our company runs? Yes, absolutely. And those need to run around the clock, whether we're there or not. And we do that by selecting the right people, putting the right processes and systems in place to adhere to our values, our goals, our objectives for the organization. So that was our Supersize Your Business for today. Our Get Up and Go challenge for today, we started breaking down the SOAP framework, the A and the P for the SOAP framework today, by taking our physical well-being. There's 7 to 9 to 12, depending on which guru or expert you ask, areas and aspects of our life that we can break it down, and I break it down and set goals. I've done 7 for, 30 or 40 years. And then this last April, I added 2 more areas to my life and aspects that I want to continue to work on and focus on and get coaching on and continually improve. And I called them out specifically because they're areas that I want to work on. And they're communication and confidence. Now, I have lots of confidence. I don't really lack in that area, but it's one of those areas where I want to continually improve it. I can communicate relatively well, not awesome, but okay. I usually can get my point across, but I want to get better and better and better at that so that I can be a better communicator, build better relationships, etc. And then the other 7 areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. Those are the ones that I've used since I've learned them from Tony Robbins in probably the late 70s, or from Jim Rohn, and stuff that goes around the guru and the personal development community goes around from so many different people, and you hear it from so many different sources. At some point, you make it your own, and you don't remember where you heard it anymore. But I believe it was Tony Robbins who I initially adopted it from. And again, like I said, it could have been Jim Rohn, it could have been somebody else, it could have been any one of the literally hundreds and hundreds of books, and actually thousands of books, or gurus that I've studied with and under over the decades, right? I've been studying for decades. And we're taking our physical well-being and we're looking at our story, the story we're telling ourselves with respect to one area or aspect of our physical well-being right now, what's our current story, and then what do we want our desired story to be, or what's our current situation and what do we want our desired situation to be. So I gave an example of physical movement, and then walk through a tool we're using today, the journalistic framework, which isn't really showing up in journalism these days or in the media, but it's still a good framework: who, what, where, when, why, and how, for actually being honest with ourselves and getting at all the most important facts and components of our story, our situation. Just because media companies aren't following it today doesn't mean it's not still a good framework. So we're using the journalistic framework still. So physical story, physical situation is what we discussed for Get Up and Go Challenge today. Tomorrow we'll do the O, and then for the next 3 days we'll go through the SO framework with respect to our physical being, and we'll do an example of that. Then we'll probably do either financial or relationships, I'm not sure which, and then we'll do the other one for 4 days, and then we'll do the other 6 areas of life, and we'll do the S, the O, the A, the P all in one day. Those are the days that I really need the timer for, because it's pretty challenging even for me to go through the SOAP and share the tools in 10 minutes or less. But it's been my challenge. I did it last time through, and this time through I noticed I set the timer actually today, and it beeped right after I finished talking. So we'll see how long the video actually ended up being today. So that's our Get Up and Go challenge for the month of October. We're doing that. And then our annual challenge this year is all about getting to know ourselves better. And I'm using a little book, a little mindfulness journal called Do One Thing Every Day That Centers You. And this is actually the 4th year in a row that I've done an annual challenge and an annual personal development challenge, just to get better about something myself. And I'm like, if I'm going to get better about it, why not bring other people along for the journey? So this is actually probably the last one of these little journal books I'll use. I haven't gone online to look. I've been playing around with another idea for next year's annual challenge, because I'm going to do an annual challenge next year. I do it anyway, so why not share it? But I'm playing with an idea that's pretty different than what I've been doing with this, and it's based on a tool that I'm really enjoying. So I'm playing with it between now and the end of the year to see how it works, how I feel about it, if I want to keep doing it, and then if I want to do it every day next year. That's the commitment I have to say, okay, yep, I'm going to do this every day for a year and see what kind of an impact it has on me and the people that participate. But I'm playing with that idea instead of one of these little random journal books. Or I've got a couple options. I could look and see if there's any more of these that would be appropriate. I can use a book that I wrote right after my sudden cardiac arrest called Flip Books, and we could use that as a book to go through, and we could just randomly pick a page and do that. Or there's lots of other sources and things we could do, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. If I want to use the tool, if I want to use another book, what I want to do. So I will work on that. I've got, it's only October. I've got 2 months plus to figure it out. And sometimes it's, New Year's Eve, and I get a different idea, and all of a sudden, starting January 1st, we're doing something entirely different than I even talked about or thought about the previous year. I usually start the summer. During the summer, I usually start thinking, okay, well, what do I want to do next year? Because I've got a good feel for it, and I'm making progress on the area that I'm working on. And I'm like, okay, well, what's next? What is next for me? And what is the next thing that I want to do? I know it sounds selfish, doesn't it? It's all about me. Leads me to, so annual challenge, Get Up and Go challenge, supersize your business. Now, working on some other projects, but it was interesting. Sometimes I wake up and I just have a realization, an idea in my mind. And a lot of times I like to write about it. I didn't get an opportunity to write about it this morning. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I didn't grab a journal and start writing about it. But I had this realization that what's going on in America and in the world right now, and how it feels to me personally, is exactly how I felt when my husband was cheating on me. It's not something I talk about very often, and I don't think he even knows, because I don't think I've ever told him how I felt when he was cheating on me. But your intuition says something's wrong, something's going on, but your conscious mind talks you out of believing it and ignoring the signs of what's going on for a certain period of time. It's different for each and every one of us. Some people know right away if their spouse is cheating on them or their significant other is not being faithful. Others of us are pretty stupid and it takes us a long time to figure it out. Why? Because we don't want to see it, number one. Number two, we don't want to believe that somebody that we've committed to and loved could deceive us and, I guess, I'm trying to think of what the right word is, betray and deceive us, and lie and cheat and do things to harm us that really aren't to harm us as much as they're just selfishly doing what's right for them. And that's, I think, the point that has taken me the longest to get to, is to realize that when someone is unfaithful to us, it's got nothing to do with us. It's not about us. For some reason, especially as women, I feel like we blame ourselves and we look for excuses and reasons and things that we've done wrong. And it's really easy to beat ourselves up and think about all the things we did wrong or that we could have done better or said better or done better. But it's really not about us at all. It's about, maybe it's just about our selection and our choice and our not wanting to see what's really there. And I share this because I woke up this morning, I've been feeling off, and I don't watch the news, I don't watch the media, but even not consuming it, it still has an energetic impact on me and everybody else in the world. And there's this overwhelming heaviness, at least around, and that to me, I couldn't identify it. And this morning I woke up with a clear feeling that what's going on in America for sure right now is just like the feeling of having an unfaithful, cheating significant other. And I'm going to explore that a little bit and think about it, maybe journal about it today, because it hit me like a ton of bricks this morning. That's what's really bothering me. It's how do you continue to move forward, and you just do is the answer. And create the good and the world-changing positivity that you want to create in the world when you know that there's so much negative and lying and cheating and deceit and manipulation going on simultaneously. Well, I think how we do it is we realize that that's been going on since the beginning of time. We've always been in this constant dual universe where there's good versus evil. Good and evil coexist. And the reason they coexist is because we live in this dual universe where opposites exist, because the opposite of something actually generates and creates the thing that it's the opposite of. So good and evil, black and white, light and dark, it's just inherent in our I guess, universe. So I'm going to think about that a little bit today, but I want to just bring it up to remind myself later on that hit me like a ton of bricks today, and I'm not quite sure why. Love to know your take on that, and maybe if you've never had an unfaithful significant other, you'll think I'm crazy, but I think that's part of it, is the other person makes you think that you're crazy and there's something wrong with you, and that what you're feeling, thinking, and believing is invalid and wrong, and that you're the problem. And that's exactly what's going on in our media, our politics, our environment, our organizations, our judicial system. And there's those of us that are not participating, and we're thinking, wow, these people are trying to make me think that what I know to be true is crazy, that my beliefs in positive, good morals and values and hard work and doing the right thing, that's all crazy, and that bullying and lying and cheating and manipulating and fraud and deceit and lies, that's okay if you have a certain set of beliefs. And that's just nuts. That's crazy, and we don't have to fall for it. I'm not sure what the answer is, what we do exactly about it, but I know it starts by realizing it's happening and that we're not crazy. That's step one. And then after we realize that, we start to take steps in the direction of knowing exactly what to do about it. And I think what I'm going to do is continue to be true to myself, who I am, what I stand for, my morals, values, and beliefs. I mean, just because the ex cheated on me doesn't mean I went out and cheated. And until, we were divorced, I had no interest at all in starting another relationship. I think that says who I am. Once I commit to something, I commit to it. But that doesn't mean just because we commit to something, other people will too. We can only control ourselves and our feelings and our actions. Everybody else has got to make their own choices and do their own thing. All right, that's it. That's all I've got today. Just a little bit of what I'm thinking about as my head is foggy with coldness. You know, we still get colds in 2021. We still get colds in the time of COVID. Everything isn't COVID, despite what the media would have us believe. You know, even I wake up sometimes and I think, I'm coughing, I must have COVID. No, absolutely not. Anyway, go out, make it an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. I actually turned messaging on this Facebook Live. It's on my Sharon Horne-Ellstrom page because my Thrive Challenge page has been unpublished by Facebook because I traced it back and found out that I had a mini chat from 2 years ago that had tags on it, and apparently during the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, Facebook made a policy that you can only have 4 tags that they approve of, and those tags, of course, were probably related to manipulation of some sort, and I was obviously using other tags that I didn't know about. Never even realized I had ManyChat turned on still for that particular page, so turned it off, tried to communicate with Facebook. Of course, there's no way to communicate with Facebook because they don't want to hear what is going on with us. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know what's going on. They just want to manipulate and do whatever they want, and that's one of the dangers of doing our thing, sharing our messages on other people's platforms. So I may just have to come up with my own type of a situation to share. All right, have an awesome day. I'll be with you tomorrow.